From born to be free to born to feel free, from motherless to motherfulness, from a culture of grace to a culture of love, and from history to her story. Welcome to season 4, where we are going to break the spell of the internalized witch hunter, aka patriarchy, and birth together matriarchy, remembering the way of the mother.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Born to be Free podcast. I'm Sharada Devi, and I'm here with a very, very special guest. I feel warmth in my belly and my solar plexus is tingling, and I have a big smile on my face because Shereen Devi is here from Kurdish descent, but growing up in Sweden. And my heart is so full already because we've had the most nourishing, healing, inspiring conversations just now before we started to record. And I also was recently on her podcast again, the Law of Positivism, her heart and soul that has come into life many, many, many years ago. And it's much more than an Instagram account, but it is an Instagram account. You were actually one of the pioneers starting Instagram and sharing your love for astrology and your love for healing and awakening and supporting. And you've invited me many years ago to come to your podcast, and we haven't been in each other's life, but we have been just more in the unseen ways. And then recently you connected again with me and invited me back on your podcast. And we had, just the most incredible time. I'm going to share the link to that podcast we just did. I shared first time very intimately my story of going through pregnancy and abortion and giving birth. And so that was a big, massive initiation to share that. And Shereen has gone through a massive initiation in her life in the last few years. And our wombs have, I think, have called each other to actually come together in sisterhood, in healing, in empowerment. And we want to do some sacred work together, offering spaces for women to come and heal and share and grow. And well, your life has been like, I don't even, where to start. Like so much you've dedicated yourself to and created an oracle card that you've brought here today as well. You're a doula, a Reiki practitioner, and a writer, an author, and have done incredible research, extensive research on like, please help me with the titles, like fertility or infertility.
Reproductive health and rights.
Yes. So warm welcome, Shereen.
A beautiful introduction from you. Your being is so powerful and loving, and you create such a big, warm, just like a bubble around you. So I think everyone who's listening to you and have connected with you can feel that. So we're really grateful for you, and also so grateful for our last conversation where you shared so beautifully and intimately and in a very loving and vulnerable space, which is where a lot of healing can start for all of us. So thank you for doing that and your beautiful work. And like you said, it's been so many years that we've connected, and we have like these strangely, so we're on very different parts of the world, but we've connected through people and places, and it doesn't feel like we never physically met, but and we've said that it's gonna happen now. But doing work in so many, like you said in the podcast last time, so many women doing different types of work, but that it weaves together. And I'm really happy and excited to connecting and co-creating, and especially when, like you said, the wombs and like God has brought us together in this time where yeah, we have these ever like the cycles that are coming back to us with different types of challenges, and even when we're doing this work, it's like going deeper and deeper within and feeling into the collective and our lineage and all women, and it just challenges us and takes us into very different spaces. And just for like context, I usually think about like this path to going into the underworld, because the goddess that first connected with me when I started my journey into this feminine mystery of the womb, it was back in 2017. Maybe I shared it when we did this beautiful gathering around what was happening in for the women in Kurdistan in Iran many years ago. But the path of Ishtar or Inanna,
Yeah.
of the regions closer to where my ancestry is. So the way she initiated me was that I was coming with the inquiry of my path as a woman and to become a mother. And she had very clear messages for me in a very beautiful journey that I did in Thailand, actually, where I got to experience like a Mongolian drum circle shamanistic initiation. And it was very clear that this archetype would come into my life. And I mean, it was very strong. It was 9 years ago, so it's coming up into a completion cycle and starting over. But that led me into working in a priestess path. So many years I studied, since I was a young maybe teenager, astrology, and very much open and receptive to otherworldly experiences since very young, and something that has come down in our lineage, of course, and all of us could have the potential to have that. But I started really getting interested into the laws of the universe and the laws of energy and that in my early 20s. And so that led me into yoga and meditation, which led me into this journey by doing my first yoga teacher training in Thailand. And the initiation into that became a womb initiation, because the years that came ahead was all about that healing of the womb, which connects me to my ancestral foremothers, but to all women and the different experiences. So going from meeting this archetype of the goddess very clearly with a name, and I was not brought up with knowing the mythologies. I mean, I grew up in the Western world, so we learn about here in Sweden about Freya, and we know Venus, but then she came in, this winged goddess. So I got very interested in the winged, since I have connection through healing. Well, it came, I think, a couple of years before that, around 2012 and 13. A lot of healing work, energetic healing work, led me to connect also what we would call the angelic realm, but it's so much in many cultures, right? And even in Kurdish ancient beliefs. Yeah, I journeyed with Inanna or Ishtar. She came to me as Ishtar. So the teacher I worked with, we call her Ishtar. It's the different phases of the feminine cycle. So it begins actually as the conception mystery and the gestation mystery, the sacred points of the year, and the birthing and the eye gazing and that whole journey. But it also opens up for us to work with this deep, it's not this archetype, the mother archetype is not always like this motherly energy and that is like blissful and joyful. It's also like a deeply ancestral work. It is so connected to also releasing and surrendering. It can be connected to fear. But all of that led me to what you started with mentioning. So besides the book and the oracle cards, which the oracle cards I dedicated to my Kurdish ancestry with the symbolism and nature and the animals that are in it. I decided to, so throughout my journey with the womb and with the different pains and experiences that I had, actually I wanted to become a midwife. That was the reason why I got into those studies. So I had other studies from early in life. I've always been like an academic person. I've always loved studying and writing, and like in that, I wouldn't say that masculine, it can be feminine as well, to learn. And you talked about the wisdom and Saraswati. So that was the name was given to me in my yoga training as well. So she's always been with me. But I wanted to become a midwife, but I saw quite quickly that the healthcare system and the clinical aspects of it was not really what I was hoping, where I could be like of support. So I started to become a doula instead, and been supporting women in birth, amongst other things that I do. It's not that my primary focus, but that led me into the study of reproductive health and rights, which then I saw like a big gap from my own experience, but also what I was studying in that program, since the healthcare system and society has like a set program for pregnancy and birth. And then usually after birth, there's like nothing in particular. And there's not any support on many levels at all when it comes to other reproductive experiences. And that includes infertility, abortion, miscarriage, anything that happens to the baby within those 9 months and maybe gets lost, or like right after, if women give birth and there's stillbirth, for example. There's so many aspects, and other aspects that I've most recently also thought about. There's actually not a lot of support when it comes to motherhood in general. Like, now there's doulas that support in birth, and also postpartum doulas. And here in Sweden, we have quite beautiful trainings around that. But there's not really this supportive aspect of how to hold and create a community and resources for women who are going through these different, it can be reproductive experience, but reproductive trauma as well. And even if there's a choice around it, it can still be a tough experience and a traumatic experience, depending on, like we said, how you're held in that. Even a birth experience can become traumatic if you feel like you don't have the right support, or if you're not heard. The pregnancy, there's a lot of things that go on throughout the pregnancy that can. So when I decided on my thesis work, it was focused on women's experience of infertility. And I did what's called a meta-synthesis. So I took actually studies from all over the world. So it's not just focused in on one culture and one country, and to see like what was the main themes. And one of the themes were the support aspects, that is usually the woman's physical experience and the medical experience that is focused on, and treatment. And I also focused on IVF treatment and that whole aspect. And many women feel dehumanized throughout the process. There's no other levels. And so I would see it as also, there are so many secular countries where also it's not ingrained in the culture and thought system to have spiritual support, or maybe now emotional therapeutic support, and countries differ. But I could see a thread throughout these studies. I can't remember if I included like 400 women's different experiences through sizes in different studies. Then I moved on actually to do religious studies. I think a couple of years ago, I was in the midst of it, probably, or I haven't started it, but I did a bachelor's and a master's thesis in religion, which both focused on this. But then I focused on coping strategies of women that do have religious and spiritual tools and beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And how, yeah, community was one of them, that they felt supported by community. Some felt the opposite, depending on which tradition, because there's also religious traditions that promote child rearing, and it can be certain Christian groups, for example, in certain countries where you're supposed to have like big families, then you become marginalized, stigmatized, things like that. But it was things like prayer, scriptures, belief in a higher plan. All of those things actually helped women who were going through infertility. And then my last thesis was on more, yeah, organizational and like spiritual and religious support and what was out there. So I mapped out some organizations and how they were helping. I think one or two were more holistic, but what we're talking about, there's none. In my research, I find nothing. There are holistic approaches to fertility, but it's usually to fix a problem. So it can be like, meditations, tapping, nutrition, but then it doesn't cover like any type of usually not like the loss or understanding how there's not really the grief aspect of it. Like, how I spoke about this in palliative care and other types of where there's like a apparent grief, like all of these reproductive experiences can have a component of grief, which is usually unseen and experienced alone. So that's why I did these research. I did an article that was published in a scientific journal, so I was happy to at least get that out there. And yeah, I think that, and what you spoke on the podcast about having this sisterhood around it, because there's different experiences from different angles, but it's like having that community support. It can be also other types of mother griefs that is untapped. There's not really, the society and the healthcare system doesn't have that, at least not what I've seen in what I've researched. So that's the work I've been doing amongst others.
Yeah, incredible. What a deep dive and journey that is, like, for yourself, because when you do that research and then you start writing about that, it doesn't just stay on the intellectual level, especially not as a woman the way you are, an embodied woman, highly receptive and in tune with the laws of nature and the unseen world. I can imagine it must have been, how has that been to write about all of that? And then even what to talk about actually going through it yourself personally, after researching and writing, and then you've experienced it also personally. And it's incredible how you have been, like, you've been researching, writing, and then you've kind of gone into it. Often it's the opposite. Like, we go through that and then we start to write about or do the work and become that wounded healer. But it feels like in your life, but maybe most probably you've had that already in your past life, right? And then you picked up the thread in this life, and
Definitely.
and,
Yeah,
and
so
then
actually, I was just today looking into, like, when you do research on indigenous cultures, or when there's usually research is from the outside perspective, so it becomes highly objective, and research should be like that in the most traditional way. But actually, you have that inside, that your own experience, not to become biased, but it becomes like an empathetic research. Like, you can really, so when you've gone through it and you start reading, first of all, it's kind of like when you're in a sister circle, a community where you hear other stories, but it fills that gap of, usually when we go through tough things, it can be anything from illness to loss to, when you're in a setting, you know, the soul, we sometimes feel like that isolated little being when we go through these tough descents. It feels like that lone little flame, not remembering it's part of that sun, for example. So I feel incredibly grateful to have the tools and dreams and intuitive insights into my own journey with the womb. And as I was reading, actually, it was after things were interconnected, things were happening. The program showed that this program was actually a new program, I think, at the university that I attended. And it was not coincidental. I think it was the first cohort, actually. And the interesting thing there was that we were people from all over the world. It was in a Swedish university, but it was midwives, doctors, people from different cultures as well, and focusing in on different things. You know, we had nurses from Somaliland, and we had a doctor from Algeria. I don't know it.
Algeria?
Algeria. I said it in Swedish.
Yeah.
We had midwives from Sweden, so many different perspectives. So I feel like, to answer the question, when writing, when researching, first of all, it cracks your heart open, because you see, well, intuitively, you know, like, this is like a pain that you're carrying from so many generations, like past five people, but also hearing your own thoughts written by others or like expressed by others, then you feel like things are piecing back together, because these experiences shatter us. They shatter who we think we were, who we think we're gonna be, who we thought we would shape our lives to. And there's so many experiences within the womb that can do that for us. And maybe it's not the norm, maybe it's not something that we hear or listen to in our daily lives, because people don't talk about it. But when you start uncovering, and like you said, when you start sharing, other people share, and then you see it's like a collective experience for women to go through these things. I think it's very healing to, not only, to me, it's always been healing to, of course, focus on my inner healing journey, but also to do something with it. It feels like, okay, I've been given this experience, so what can I do then? How can I be of service to others? So if I can go through this, how can I be there for others? So it really opened up a new world. So I'm grateful for it. I couldn't have said that many years ago, but it's like a grieving process that we really changes us. And
Would you want to share like what you went through also?
yeah, but I went through many years of infertility, so that's why I focused on the infertility studies, and that really shifted me, because I'm also a person who really I've always felt like empowered and in control, but then life and God has said, now I'm gonna really put you into a situation. Even birth is a, I've never birthed, but I've been in birth. It's completely surrendering and letting go of all of your fears and accepting exactly where you are. That's why one of the cards are like, I accept fully my life as it is right now. And that's really hard, like, because we can go into sense of unfairness and like injustice and feeling like anger, and also like many of us experience women anger towards self and our body and why, and that stems from like a lack of self-love or like compassion for ourselves. So it's a really initiatory experience, and as I said, there is a lot of strength and power in having like the spiritual faith-based tools, because also my research showed that when going through infertility and you have those tools, it's easier to go through and it doesn't become as traumatic, even if it is, if you lose someone, if you lose someone that's close to you, all the spiritual tools that you have, they can be helpful, but you still feel the pain and grief. It doesn't matter, like it's uncontrollable. But with time, it helps you and it can connect you deeper to your soul and that person's soul. And most of us have gone through losses of, at least when we get older. That's the part of life, and grief is a transformative experience, and it really is an initiatory. I'm thinking about Ishtar again, when she has to go through that and like die completely before she resurrects. That's also like the journey of grief. Then what comes out of it, and we can't ever know, because we have to, in that experience, in that present moment, feel everything. It's we can rationalize things, but if we're not feeling it and completely surrendering to it, it gets kind of stuck somewhere. And yeah, I think it took time for me to really process and to come to a point where I fully saw, and that was mostly through my spiritual experiences with it, actually. All of the connections, it really initiated me into the goddess. It really took me to places to visit the Black Madonna here and there, because the Black Madonna to me is that experience. It's like, Kali, and it's like really raw, and that aspects of the goddess. And then finding back to, if it's like always be like, I likened it as like holding the mother's hand and really trusting that she's leading you forward to the right place. I always like surrendered into that, and it sounds really like abstract, but I really saw that ahead of me, and that archetype has been with me since then, like really strongly. Yeah, so it's a big topic, untapped.
Yeah. I was so moved and touched by you and your ability to bring words to this untapped, massive part of our lives, right? That so many women experience in one way or another, and so little is talked about, and so little still understanding or understanding of what is required in order to integrate it to infertility, and then the loss, like we discussed, like then maybe you have infertility and then you do get a child, and then it doesn't stay, right? Or if what you shared with me about like adopting a child, and then after that, what did you call it? You had a particular the terminology.
Sorry?
You had a terminology that I wasn't familiar with before when we
There's a lot.
we're so deeply in the heart feeling.
Yeah.
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 It maybe comes later, but basically it's like that loss, that and or abortion or loss of pregnancy.
Yeah, reproductive loss. Are you thinking about?
Was it that terminology? Like it was
reproductive trauma. There's different ways of, yeah, the reproductive experience. I feel like even in the field of science, it's so narrowed. I actually found the term from like one study, and it did encompass the whole thing, because it doesn't matter if we, so in the experience, and so that was something that I really thought about throughout my studies and the journey, how, because I've talked to women who go through abortion, and again, it's medicalized and it's a very physical experience, but like, how does it, like you shared in your talk on my podcast, how the ceremonial part and the emotional, psychological, spiritual part of it is so important. And no matter what reproductive experience we have, it can be pregnancy, it can be birth, it can be postpartum, like what you've been working with, to hold like sacred space around it, or be very intentional, all of it, with everything in life. It, when we have, even when we're celebrating in my culture that spring is coming and we light that fire, it's like a conscious initiation into that time period or phase. So if we are going through, so these, even this cycle I did with Ishtar, and then, you know, after the birthing, the bleed comes, and then you come into your sovereignty, and then that cycle, even in that cycle, there's waning and waxing like the moon. And some of our reproductive experiences are like the blossoming and the blooming, and then it's like the dying and shedding. So it makes sense to have a frame of work where the womb experience is all inclusive to all experiences, which is, it's not right now, because it's compartmentalized into, it can be like fertility, conception, gestation, birth, and then it can be the other side of it, and then, but it's like I just see it as a spectrum of different experiences. And even things that might be a positive experience, like a successful birth. What about postpartum depression, for example? Post-adoption depression, post-treatment, like there's so many things that are happening within our bodies all the time naturally. And then when it's when you get the hormones from outside or from inside, things happen, and usually it's just suppressed. Even like the time leading up, like the PMS experiences, or the time leading up to the bleed, and if you're suppressing that and just continuing and not being in your body at that time, and society puts pressure on you to like perform just as normal around that time, especially for everyone who's in out there and doing all the work as it was structured as a machine, or how do you say, like a factory. Then you're just going on, and things are adding up, and then it becomes the symptoms. So my studies of Chinese medicine also really helped me to understand the physical body and how everything is connected to each other. I love the Chinese medicine perspective on health and healing, and also the emotions and things that come from our ancestry. And when we start seeing that, it's like a holistic thing. So it's not like this one little experience, it can be like our whole life of things, and then our parents' life, and going back and back. So yeah, I just love connecting like to the wombs of my foremothers, like going back and all the way to our first and life-giving womb of all of the planet and humankind, womankind.
Yeah. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling. I want to give us all a moment to just feel. And you said a term when we were starting our podcast before we were recording, the silent grief. And maybe there is a silent grief for some of our listeners or community members that are needing a moment to feel the heart and grief. I know for myself that even though I've done and continue to do all these ceremonies and the postpartum care and the rebozo, the closing of the bones, and fire ceremony, and I went to the water priestess, and I've done all the spiritual ceremonies that I know of, and even having therapy. And there's still these moments, these waves coming of grief. It's the silent grief, those moments when I'm alone and not really ever alone. Like I'm there with nature and the wind and the sun and the waters and the trees. And here in Bali, there are frogs and geckos and then they're with me. And wherever you are, we're never really alone, but still sometimes it feels lonely. And if we don't feel it, then it will somehow turn into a confused cell that then can turn into a cancer or some kind of disease that makes us feel. But if we choose to feel it, then no matter what happens to us in life, we don't need to get traumatized by that experience, and the experience will continue to unfold. Birth and life, sustenance and death, the sacred cycle continuing. And if we can feel and acknowledge what is here, then even these moments of loss then suddenly turn into a blessing, because we end up here together and then sharing and birthing something new. Isn't that the beauty? Like when we go through the death, we meet the Black Madonna and Kali, and the love transforms it, and something new will come out of it, something even more beautiful that we couldn't even think of or imagine. Like, I really got such the word that comes, but it's not the right word, but hit with getting pregnant unexpectedly. And I feel I'm a different person. This whole new world is opening up to me now. A deeper world. It's not a new world, but it's a deeper world.
Tapping into those, it calls on us deeper when we have to. I want to acknowledge also that there's other reproductive experiences. There's so many, but women go through everything from painful periods to endometriosis to PCOS to fibroids to cysts. There's so many experiences also that I want to encompass in this. When I said the spectrum, it's not only about conception or non-conception or loss in that way, but to become initiated and going through that sense of you can feel like your body is failing you, or like, why is this again? Tapping into that feeling of not being in that nurturing space, feeling abandoned or betrayed by your own body, because the womb is something that can really trigger us, it can open us, it can connect us, it can invoke so much in us. And like we said, like these initiations from the start, from being in our first bleed doesn't occur, and then we are directly, women in the West are mostly like often put on the pills, and that's where like the indigenous ways are so important, and what I was brought up with and taught, and many from non-Western cultures to like connect to, not doing things that are, I'm not saying something is right or wrong. It's just that being very informed, that's the part, having to take informed decisions. It's within your heart, within your mind, on all levels, to understand like what steps you're taking. And the power and strength of being in a sister is to share stories, because that's why like the phenomenon of like these Facebook groups with different topics related to parenthood or to anything, can be womb experiences and fertility journeys. They become like a source also for like lived experiences, like subjective experiences and understandings and sharings. It's not maybe as nuanced as like meeting up and talking and having different perspectives, but so many things are not meant for us to go through alone, but somehow society is set up in that way, and we're not passed down knowledge and wisdom of elders in the same way that could have been before, and like how to nurture. And for example, how you've taken care of your body now these past months, and the way that's like invaluable tools for the body, but also for the soul and for the whole experience, to be held in that embrace. And yeah, I'm just as we were meditating, feeling like there's so many experiences within the space that we're in right now. Anyone who's listening now or in a couple of years hearing, yeah, that heart womb connection through us, and they are important initiations. There's not much. It's like this incarnation. It can really come through our womb, everything that we've left unprocessed for many lifetimes and connections. I'm just shuffling the cards because if you, Sharada, you also feel like it, I will draw cards from the healing oracle cards, which, yeah, through my journey of going through like immense healing work, came through. And the backside of the cards have both the angelic realms through the feathers, but the Kurdish sun.
The Kurdish sun, so beautiful. There's like
Yeah,
a bindu also in the middle. It's like the dot and then the sun.
yeah.
Or is the bindu, the dot, and the sun rays, or is that together? Is that the Kurdish?
But it's actually two symbols emerged in one, because the outer sun is the one that we most commonly see in our
Yes.
flag,
Ah,
21
okay.
rays and
Yeah.
transmutation of the soul. And then the inner one is actually traditionally tattooed with soot and breast milk into foreheads, into hands of women. So it's a traditional deck tattoo art from northern Kurdistan, most prominently. So you can see elder
Can you say that
Kurdish.
again? So what? So the one with the that is like a half moon with the lines, the middle one, that is usually tattooed with breast milk and
And the soot, the black soot, which comes from when something is, I don't know how you call it in
soot.
in English. It's like when something has burnt, and it's like
Yeah, the
dark.
coal. Is it the
Uh,
coal, maybe?
but like the little, yeah, it becomes like uh, powder.
Okay. Like
It's a
the
black
ashes.
powder. Yeah, I think it
Like
might
ashes.
be ashes. I'm
Uh-huh.
not sure if it's the right term, but and the breast milk, because
Okay.
breast milk has the healing. And now it's a little revival amongst young
Oh,
Kurdish.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it's also from your indigenous culture.
Yeah.
It's like poked into the
Yeah, I
skin.
have I have a very similar sun like that on my belly. I mean, I have a moon, a half moon, and then I have actually like that sun, almost the same, little bit different on my belly.
I would send you some of the ones that women have, because it's also a tradition that is kind of dying out, but that is reviving. So I'm
Okay.
looking into it, and it's finally been documented, the different symbols,
And
and
your next thesis right now is on Kurdish symbols, you mentioned.
that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
That's my proposal, actually.
Okay.
What it has been preserved and what has not been documented.
Yeah.
That's a intricate, very intricate history, and the culture stems back from the Neolithic times, and these ancient sites are being unearthed in northern Kurdistan, and that maybe dates back to 11,000 years ago. So it's very interesting, and it's the goddess, the feminine, opening up now. So we have to like, it's like the counter movement of what is going on in the world and in our regions. It's coming up now. So it's very strong. That work has been so important for
Yeah.
me as well. And I have to say that my work with the cards, they were actually very synchronistically, the time I was starting or just getting into the project, I had written my book, and then I was going to do the cards, and I was connected to Apila, Colorado, who's also, I showed you in my cards. She's an indigenous cultural practitioner and the founder of Worldwide Indigenous Network, and written the beautiful book Woman Between the Worlds, which I've interviewed her on the podcast. She's an elder, and she said to me to use my voice and platform to be the voice of my indigenous people and lands. So everything that came into the cards, and it was around that time me and you did the work as well. So much was unearthing and coming up and bleeding out. And so the cards, I decided, and I've drawn 3 cards now, and you will see one of you, it actually, not all place depictions of places are my indigenous lands, because I did the earth chakras according to some theories about where the earth chakras is. So should I tell
Please.
the audience what came out? So the cards are actually they are divided into 5 groups of healing. So the first one being the physical healing, the green cards are physical, what we can do. I've integrated what I learned in my yoga experiences and trainings, Chinese medicine, education, and all of that, and intuitive messages. And then it's the mental mind thinking layer, that level of healing. And then everything is connected, but it's just to know like what to focus on. We have the emotional, energetic, and spiritual. So the one that first came up now is the energetic card of the root chakra, which says, I have a healthy and stable foundation in my life. And Mount Shasta, that represents that. I've never been, but and the sun is shining bright, and the animals and
And the
nature,
waterfall.
the waterfall, the crystals. Lori Menna has designed the art,
So beautiful.
art and cosmic collage. She's amazing.
One of my teacher lives close to Manchester.
Oh,
Radzi. Mhm.
it's so powerful seeing. I would love to go there. The second card is of the spiritual healing card. It's I'm one with the infinite consciousness. And again, it's actually the sun symbol, but in a different way. And it's an eagle, a little bit merged with a phoenix like. I know that Lori
Beautiful.
2 birds together in this card.
Stunning.
So it really goes upward in this card. So we start from the root and then going up to the
Right.
crown and all of that. And then this card came up that actually depicts Kurdistan and our ancient temples, the Yazidi temples, which stems from our ancient beliefs faith tradition. And it's, I let go of limiting thoughts that are holding me back. And the serpent is there. And the snake and the serpent is such a, what I've done research recently, such an important symbol in our culture, pre-Abrahamic teachings, and still is in Yazidism, the vitality, health, protection. I mean, it's connected to the divine feminine. We have the snake goddess in our mythology, Shamaran. I think we spoke about it as well. So you see the temples, how they look. And again, the eagle, the snake is down, the serpent is down there.
Yeah. So beautiful. And then the eagle is there again. The
Yes.
temples look like the pyramid.
You see, this is how they look. And we have, I mean, it's our most ancient roots to our rooted religion, which also connects the children of the sun and the mountains. That's also a proverb that we have no friends but the mountains. So it connects us to our root and grounding, but also that connection and one with the infinite consciousness. And this card, I let go of limiting thoughts that are holding me back. This is to all like tough experiences that I think my mind has been, since I am very mind driven, it's been like a friend, but also a constant like a challenge to me. I have a lot of, I think it was Mercury and Venus in Gemini. So mind and communication is something that drives me, but it can also, when it becomes too dominant, become like a hurdle. So yeah, these messages really asks us to, it's perfect time for that in this, right now we're in Taurus season. Finally, I'm looking forward to it, to ground and connect to nature, and then from that space, being willing to open up and letting those rays come in through us and bring these messages of clarity. And that's been one of the most healing things, to listen to the dreams, listen to the synchronicities and the messages and the people. And like us, I said, now I need to connect with Sharada. It was, you see, we're all connected. So when we feel that urge to do something or to connect with someone, there's definitely a reason for it.
There is. There is, and then to follow that. Thank you for following your womb and that urge. I feel so nurtured and grateful for you. And wow, what an, truly Saraswati and embodied Ishtar and like Madonna and Maria Magdalena. And I love seeing and feeling all the archetypes in you as you. Yeah, this is Devi with all her different gifts. We have this belief that I can do and be only one thing, but no, we are everything. We are whole. We are infinite, and you're such an incredible example of that limitless sacred wholeness and beauty of the goddess that she is, and embodying all this quality of wisdom and knowledge and embodiment and skill and art and motherhood. And yeah, wow, really. What an honor and joy this has been. I feel we can continue for hours, but I feel we'll have another episode and another episode, and soon our offering to the world. Let's see what we're gonna birth together. And thank you so much. Deeply, deeply grateful for you. And is there anything else you would like to share with our people? How can they find you? And yes.
Yeah, can only, first of all, give you so much love and gratitude for everything that you've dedicated your body, your soul, your mind to, and to create these spaces and the work that you do, which has been definitely a revolution part of that for a long time. And yeah, so everything that I've done under the umbrella of the Law of Positivism, which was the first name that came to me many, many years ago, as you said, when Instagram just started. And I just felt like everything was so like everything I was consuming that was coming up online was so negative. And it's a difference to go through grief and pain and to metabolize it, and another thing to be ingrained with so much. I felt back then, this was probably how many years ago can it be now? Maybe 13, 12 years ago, that there was a shift of being very aware and conscious of what I was bringing into my being and in my mind. And so it felt like if we do something that is in service and positive for someone else, it can grow and expand. So everything I've done is under that umbrella. And yeah, funnily enough, I haven't had prenatal yoga classes for a long time, but I'm gonna have that very soon. But it's locally here in Uppsala. And yeah, it's like a cycle. It was a long time ago, actually. I had that. And the podcast has been just a service of connecting with beautiful beings like you and teachers who really resonate and that I feel like do incredible work. But I'm really looking forward to taking all of these experiences and being again of service, not just through academic writing, but to do it in more embodied, maybe more presently. But no, when we go through, we all metabolize our experiences in different ways. As I said, I've been a Cancer. I've been like going within a lot and deep into the waters with myself, and so that I can, even with the Reiki healing, it took me so many years before I felt like I'm ready to like give it to someone else. But it was so powerful when opening up that portal. It's like, yeah. So I'm looking forward to always love co-creating and love everything you do. And thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your story and experience most recently.
Is there a Kurdish closing or prayer that you feel is appropriate?
I most recently wrote mantras in Kurdish, and I'll see if I can pull them up. I was called actually right after we connected to write it down and calling upon our ancestors and our brothers and sisters. Let's see if I have it somewhere where I can read it then, if you want to hear. If it's further. I have everything noted down. Maybe back then. No, I can't find it right now, but and it was really like channeled and felt okay. I will say it and I can and it's actually Northern Kurdish, which is not my native. I speak Southern Kurdish, but I'm studying Northern Kurdish. But I feel it's very okay.
So you found it?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Bang la hamuda piru ba piren beredekam. Bang la hamude de ubave beredekam. Bang la hamu khushku brayan ji bere niha u peshroje dekam. Gazi daika arde mezin deke. Bang la hamu hemanen خوێزایی کرین ئاگر هەوا ئەرد ئاڤ فێزایی giridana bestärk och stärkan och hamuha bunen de gerdunede. We called upon all ancestors, brothers, sisters, mothers, and to Mother Earth and all the elements of the earth, and may it hold you and bless you, and for you to connect with your ancestral lands and all of the elements around you, and that have made you into this physical expression. May it be so. Amen.
So it is. Tatastu. Allah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who is with us here. Thank you for being you and following your heart. If you wouldn't follow your heart, you wouldn't be listening or watching here. So I know you're following your heart. And if you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to us for us to hear from you, leave a comment, how it landed, like the episode, and even share it with your family and community if you see it can serve the world. And we'll meet again for the next round. All the love and blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, brave heart, child of this earth, heroine and hero of your own myth. If you want to stay in the loop, join the Mother Online Village. It's a free Telegram group where I share almost daily Eros medicine potions. We're hosting mother grieving circles. And also it's a really great way to stay updated with everything that's happening in our world, in Devi School. We are now preparing for the upcoming Navaratri festival. Navaratri means 9 nights of the goddess, and for the very first time we're gonna celebrate it and honor it here in Mother Bali in person, as well as online hybrid. So also in the Mother Online Village, we'll share all the updates so that you can join the field. We have a shared vision, and the vision is to birth actual, real mother villages, beginning in Bali, hopefully in the Philippines, India, and the rest of the world. We're birthing our own Satya Yuga within this Kali Yuga, where mothers, children, women are at the center, a temple for womb healing and restoration of dignity. And if you are and feel connected to this vision, please join us in this movement. I also invite you deeply to join me this year for my 5-day Eros medicine journey immersion in Sweden and Portugal, where we're held again in the loving arms of Mother Nature, where we ignite the fire of transformation by being real and raw and authentic and sharing our deepest stories with each other, because that's the way how we grow and heal. And we're here to honor the womb of all wombs, the golden womb, our mother's womb, and our own womb, so that we can reclaim our sacred power. It will be an honor if you want to join me on this journey. And if you know that you have come here to lead and be a pillar and want to guide others to also breaking the spell of the internalized witch hunter and patriarchy, then join the waiting list for the Muse Golden Womb. It's my mistress, mother piece, basically. It's a 1.5-year container where you become a certified trauma-informed sacred sexuality Devi coach. Devi stands for devoted, embodied, vital, and integrated coach. It also stands for Devi, the goddess. This here is where you remember that you are a goddess, that you are one with all, and that you are the key to freedom. So we're beginning end of the year 2027, and if you feel this fire in your heart and the turn on in your yoni, then book a call with me, a connection call, and it will be my greatest joy to take you onto this journey of a lifetime. There's really nothing like that outside there that I have seen that combines Vedic wisdom, sacred sexuality, orgasmic birthing, natural fertility awareness, herbalism, family constellation, somatic experiencing, and so much more. So it is really an incredible opportunity. And if you want to hear some of the stories of the muses that have taken the journey, just reach out. They would love to talk to you. If you loved this episode, if you love the Born to Feel Free podcast and the Born to Be Free podcast, if you love it, please share it with your family and friends and comment here what has ignited in your heart. Thank you so much for being you. I love you. You're beautiful. And see you next time. Jema.
From my heart to yours, deepest gratitude for your presence. May you follow your wildest dreams, live your highest purpose, and expand into the infinite, because that's what you are.